It is absolutely incredible. It is not something that you hear of that often. For a team to go unbeaten is amazing. And if they are able to finish this season and they don't lose any match in any competition, I just think it would be one of the great achievements of world football. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching or listening to us from. This is the Naija FC Podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me my reliable co host.
Smith Layi. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, guys, for joining us once again for another fantastic episode where we discuss all the hottest topics revolving around Nigerian football. For this one, we're going to do a little bit of a review of the past week of action, talking about some of the leagues that ended, how the Nigerian players are performing. Look forward to the week ahead as well. But before we get all into it, I wanted us to take at the start of this episode a comment of yours. We appreciate the engagement, and even though the last episode, a lot of the comments were people disagreeing, which I like. To be honest, I like when people are not always agreeing. But yeah, there were a lot of insults as well. I don't like the insults, but I appreciate the engagement nevertheless. But yes, Midlai, this comment was sort of directed at you. So I'm going to ask your opinion first before I give my opinion. Bola says, I understand Smith Layi's frustration. This is regarding Finidi George and his backroom staff. But let us just calm down. Pesero hired his son and his goons to assist him. Did we ask about their experience? And we still reached the AFCON final. Let us give these guys a chance. As long as they are competent, we can be hopeful. There are coaches in the Premier League with similar experience that come into the team, and within a matter of months, they are looked as potentially top coaches. These guys have decades of experience, even if not at the top level. The experience is still there. Everybody just needs a chance to prove what they can do. So, Smidlai, Bola Set is responding to, I guess, the reaction around the backroom staff of Finidi. While we had a lot of comments about them either being coaches for youth teams or not even having coached at the top level for a long time, Bola Set is saying, calm down. Look at Pesero. He had the son. He had some other guys that we don't know. They reached AFCON final. So these guys too, why can't we believe that they will be successful? What's your response to that?
Bola said, I thank you for that comment. Thank you for engaging with us. I appreciate you again. And this is a very polite comment that there's no insults, there's no jab at it, there's nothing, it's a very good comment, and I ask you what, I will not 100% agree with you. And because for me, I like show us something that can make us happy. For now, I don't think that Finidi is showing us anything that can make us excited. I'm just hoping and pray that he get it right. That is my opinion. I think that you are right, but I'm just looking at it from my own area, my own angle. I think that he's not really showing us what's to be happy about.
And I will say, from my own perspective, I understand where the person is coming from. But at the same time, I understand where Smith Layi was coming from as well, and just what the general frustration is. We are hiring coaches that don't really have pedigree at the level that we want them to coach at. Does it mean that they cannot do well? No. Does it mean that they wouldn't do well? No. But obviously, if you have a top coaching job and you hire a proven assistant versus an assistant that is just trying to get his or her feet wet, you understand that your chances are probably better with the proven one. Now, life is not linear. Things can go wrong, things can go right. So it doesn't mean that the assistants that Finidi has selected will not be positive for Nigeria and will not help us to get results. It's just that if you take it at face value, football is not played on paper, but if you look at it on paper, they just don't give you any reason to be joyous and to be excited about. And
Mm-hmm.
comparing it to the Premier League, I always say I don't like when people compare national team scenarios to club football scenarios. In the sense that saying a relatively unknown coach gets a job in the Premier League and in a short period of time they are looked at as a top coach, we have to also understand the nuance that comes with it. If you give a talented coach a team of players and he is working with them day in, day out for a whole year, if that coach is truly talented, then yes, we will start to see the results and it will start to yield fruit. But with the national team, we know that coaches don't have that kind of time. They don't have that luxury. You get the players for 2 weeks, you have to play 2 matches. They go back to their clubs. You get them for another 1.5 weeks, they have 2 matches. So the coach at national team doesn't have the time to really infuse his ideas and his philosophy. So things have to sort of already be ready made, and the players have to be able to buy into it ASAP. So that's why
Yeah,
I look at it differently. Although Bola said we understand where you're coming from. Thank you for your comments. And yeah, I hope we've sort of answered your question that you had. So yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
wanted
Okay.
want to add something?
Yes, I just want to add. It's important for me to add one of the insults to it too, so that because
Okay, you can take
uh,
one.
okay, because someone said, he said, ask Smith Layi how many of Joseph Pacero's or Morio's backroom staff does he know? How many African ex-footballers get coaching jobs in Europe? Is it because they were not? Is it because they were not good players? Useless analysis, which I think that is a bit not unfair. And he said that all you should be discouraging does finish the work. Okay, just say, okay, let me just take it this way. In the first part, when Jose Pesero, when they announced him, apart from Felipe that I know as his backroom staff, I also did analysis that he knew that he's equipped with what? With some of the best Portuguese coaches, young coaches coming up. They're on UEFA Pro license, at least. Even the keeper, the goalkeeper trainer he brought in, they have data. Yeah, you can actually check them. They've worked before. It might be Portuguese Division 2, but at least they have record that they actually they've worked somewhere before. And what I'm saying basically is that the backroom staff, it's not as if they have not worked before, but the gap, for instance, now, one of the backroom staff now, the data from 2017 up to now, you cannot find anything there. So it's not. I'm just trying to tell you that the football is evolving every day, and you have to be up to date with what's actually happening in the world of football. About those African footballers get coaching jobs in Europe, is it because they are not good players? Good players doesn't make good coaches sometimes. You have to have the knowledge of the game. For example, now Ateta is not one of the best players in the Premier League, but at least he's one of the best coaches now in the Premier League. Thierry Henry was one of the best players in the Premier League, and I knew when he went to AS Monaco, he fumbled in AS Monaco. So it doesn't mean that because you are one of the best players, you should be the best coach. I think that is wrong. So Skuku, I appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah.
I will not be addressing the insults, but Smith Layi has
Mhm.
responded. That one was not even one of the bad insults. That one, the person was just talking. But yeah,
Mhm.
let's get into this week's conversation. Um, in case you've been sleeping under a rock, I will update you. German Bundesliga has ended. The English Premier League has ended, as well as so many different leagues around the world. The ones that are still active have a week, maybe 2 weeks max, for them to end. But then leagues like Sweden, leagues like Norway, leagues like USA will continue on um, through the summer, and go into the holidays. But yes, we will start with Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen. Victor Boniface was on the score sheets as Bayer Leverkusen ended their season as the Invincibles of Germany. There've now been, I believe, 3 teams that have done this: Arsenal, Juventus, and Bayer Leverkusen. In all competitions, they've also gone 51 matches unbeaten. So they are yet to lose at all throughout this season. First of all, it is absolutely incredible. It is not something that you hear of that often. For a team to go unbeaten is amazing. And if they are able to finish this season and they don't lose any match in any competition, I just think it would be one of the great achievements of world football. Not
Mhm.
just the Bundesliga, not just for a German team. It'd be one of the great achievements of world football. I think if they finish this season without losing any match in any competition, for me it would almost not quite there because of the story, but almost be on the level of Leicester City winning the Premier League. Obviously, the Leicester City one was an incredible shock to everybody, an incredible achievement. This one I don't think is quite on that level, but almost there. Because Bayer Leverkusen, while they're a decent team, while they've been good for some years, decent, I don't think anybody expected them to be able to have the kind of season that they've had. And I think for me, the happiest part of everything is that there are Nigerians at the helm. Victor Boniface, able to score a goal to finish the season. Nathan Teller also on the squad, played more of a bench role this season, but still played a key role and contributed when he was called upon. So yes, Smith Layi, what are your thoughts on Bayer Leverkusen achieving invincible status in Germany and potentially, achieving that invincible status across all competitions?
It's one of the beautiful stories of football. If you remember that when Xabi Alonso took over, last season, they were close to the bottom of the Bundesliga. But the story changed, and when I took note of this team was when they played against Jose Mourinho's AS Roma in last year's UEFA Europa League. So they pushed them and realized that Alonso is building something here, and the first market that he actually was, he brought in players he needed. There's no error there. He brought in players at a very cheap rate that he actually was needed. And look at how they are flourishing now. So for them to go unbeaten, the first team in the history of Bundesliga is something. This is a team I've never won Bundesliga before. So, and they're gonna do it. Did it in a way that they went unbeaten throughout the season, and they won majority. Like they only drew 3 games, majority of the game. So fantastic achievement from Xabi Alonso. I'm happy that he's going to stay in the Leverkusen for another 1 year. I want him to actually continue with this trajectory. I also want our Nigerian players to stay with this club because I see them doing something special in the next year's Champions League if they can keep the core of the team together. So I'm happy that Victor Boniface is there. I'm happy that Nathan Teller too is also there, and I also like the banter between Teller and Boniface when Boniface said that I'm not the only Nigerian in Bayern Leverkusen. And Teller replied, say, Aburo me. Like so I like that too. And I also like the way when I saw the picture of the grassroots coach of Victor Boniface celebrating the Bundesliga title with him. That shows you that Boniface never forgot where he actually came from. And in fact, it's like the guy handling Leverkusen's Instagram is Boniface's friend. because everything that he has been doing, the reply they play, this thing, the keeper say, I beg you, make with that score, things like those type of jokes, it just makes it sweet, and you know I'm gonna be backing them to apologies for Lukman, you've lost 2 finals, but I think I'm gonna be backing them until tomorrow.
We'll get there. We'll get
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Okay, so yes, fantastic one, and like you rightly mentioned, it was a great gesture by Victor Boniface to bring his grassroots coach to
Mm-hmm.
join the celebration. A
Yes.
lot of the time, while players might not necessarily forget the
Mm-hmm.
coaches that helped them, they don't really always carry those coaches along as they
Along.
continue to achieve their
Yes.
success. And
Mm-hmm.
in just the pictures that we saw on social media, you could see that the man was looking clean, was looking fresh.
Clean.
You know,
Yes.
you even think that himself now for Europe when the
Yeah.
coach.
Yes, you think so.
So obviously Boniface has taken good care of him.
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just for that period, to show him the appreciation is, I've never experienced it. I know Smith Layi has never experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
but I've come close to experiencing it in Canada when Ibrahim Sunusi won the Canadian Championship. I was there as they were celebrating on the pitch side. I was there, but it's different. The
Mm-hmm.
German Bundesliga is just different. It's a
Yeah.
big league. It's a big trophy for you to
Yeah.
be on the field, touch the trophy,
Mm-hmm.
take a picture with the trophy. I mean, it must be an amazing feeling, and kudos to Victor Boniface for giving his coach that kind of honor and that kind of experience. I'm sure the coach would never forget that experience. Um, okay, let's move forward to more wins, more trophies, more celebration. This time I'll jump to the female side of things. Christy Ucheibe, we've been talking about her for the past few weeks on the podcast now. But her club, SL Benfica Feminino, they just secured probably, I don't know if you call it their fourth or their third trophy of the season. It depends on how you want to look at it. They won the Portuguese League, they won the Portuguese Cup, they won the League Cup, and earlier in the season they also won the Super Cup. So if you count the Super Cup as a trophy for the season, then that's four in one season. If you don't count the Super Cup, it's still a domestic treble.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible feat nonetheless. Christy Ucheibe has won the league in 4 consecutive years that she has been there. Anything Man City can do, Benfica too can do it on the women's side. Just an amazing all-round achievement. And for them to clear the entire Portuguese trophies this season, I think is a fantastic one. And in such a short span of her career, Christy Ucheibe's trophy haul is able to compete with some of the best that we've seen in Nigeria and Africa. I know Shoala racked up a lot of trophies while playing for Barcelona, but with the way things are going for Christy, she also has a very good chance of racking up many, many more trophies as her career continues to advance. Is this the peak of what she can achieve at Benfica? Should she be considering a move? These are questions that we have to ask her, and we have to ask you guys that are watching. Let us know what you think in the comments as well. But another year, clean sweep for SL Benfica Feminino. Fantastic performance. They are going to play in the Champions League again next season, hoping to be able to do better than the quarterfinal that they did in this year. And of course, she's looking forward to the Olympic tournament coming up with the Super Falcons of Nigeria this summer. It has potential to be a very, very great year for Christy Ucheibe. And we've spoken about her. We think she's one that, deserves a nod when it comes to nominations for the African Footballer of the Year, because she has just been amazing for her club and for her country, Nigeria, as well. Smith, like, what are your thoughts on Benfica's fantastic season in the Portuguese Women's League and Christy Ucheibe's contribution to the side as well?
No, fantastic job. I think Christy is one of the most consistent Nigerian player in Europe. If you can't take that one away from her, and I'm really actually happy for her. And also Benfica too. They are clearly one of the best teams in. They're the best team in Portugal. You can't take that one away from her. Most of the Portuguese national team players play for that same team, so you know that it's a very well equipped team. And when you look at the game they played against, was it Leon or so in the Champions League? They ran Leon very close to tell you
Yeah.
that the gap even between the Premier Liga Femini in Portugal and the League One Femini is in France. The gap is not really that much. So if it's a different team, I'm pretty sure that Benfica will have actually even hedged them. So it's not as if she's playing in the poor team. She's there. She can play in the midfield, also in defense too. So good season for her. I'm actually very happy for her. I just think that she might be considered like a new challenge now. That okay, I've won everything here. Come on, let me see where else. Come on. There's the WSL is there. If she wants to, at least I'll be able to go and watch her live and direct in England. But it's up to the club. It's also up to her too. I think that she's got a very very good season. Man City is doing that in England. Benfica is also doing that. What's it called in Portugal too? So, and also looking forward to the Olympics too. If she can have a very good Olympics like the last World Cup, have a very good Olympic Games too, I think that she will be one of the best. Have a shot to be one of the best players in Africa. Don't forget that the players I've mentioned before in the last edition, is this Chwamenga, the lady from Malawi,
Tabitha Chawinga.
Chawinga, yeah, the lady from Malawi. She won't be going to the Olympics. So our record is basically what she did for PSG Feminino in what's it called in France. So she's going to go to the Olympics, and we'll see exactly what she's gonna show. What Christy Ucheibe will do. A good run for Nigeria in the Olympics. We see either Chiamaka Nnadozie, Ajibade Rasheedat, and also Christy Ucheibe, one of them to win the African Best Player.
Amazing, amazing. And we're, of course, rooting for all the Nigerian ballers. And shout out once again to Christy Ucheibe for the fantastic feats and the trophy haul. Whether you consider it to be a treble or you consider it to be a quadruple, I think it is fantastic. It's not something that happens all the time. Even if you are the best team in your country, it doesn't always happen like this. So an amazing, amazing season for her club, and can even get better through the summer. At this point, I just want to give a quick break to let you guys know that you can get your Nigerian football merchandise on eaglestrackershop.com. T-shirts, hoodies, phone cases, caps, wherever you are in the world. It doesn't matter if you are in Europe, North America, Africa, Asia, anywhere. Just place your order on eaglestrackershop.com, purchase online, and we will ship it to you ASAP. Quick delivery, affordable prices, support the brand, and of course, we would like to see you guys repping Naija wherever you are. Okay, let's move on now, Smith Layi. Another trophy, another title win for another Nigerian player. This time, we're talking about the best player at the AFCON 2023, the captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, William Troost-Ekong. Ekong, of course, since playing at the AFCON, has been out of action. He had a surgery post AFCON, and then he's just been back in recovery. But in his absence, his club side, PAOK, have gone ahead to win the Greek Super League, after a narrow, tough contest with AEK Athens. They came out on top, finishing 2 points above their counterparts. And of course, they celebrated the victory in typical Greek fashion. William Troost-Ekong is one player that at club level, has had, I would say, a shaky path. His pathway hasn't been so clear, from playing in Premier League to going to the Championship to going to the Serie A. A lot of people were wondering
Turkish
what the
League.
next to the Turkish. People were wondering what's the next step going to be for him. And then he joined PAOK in the Greek Super League, and it seemed like maybe just a decent enough level for him to just play some football, not be on the bench, and boost himself back up. And I think they've exceeded expectations, in my own opinion, based on what I was expecting to see from them. Of course, winning the league is not easy against teams like AEK, against teams like Olympiacos. I think they got to the quarterfinal of the Conference League as well. So they had a decent year, and them winning their league means that they are going to be in the qualifying rounds of the UEFA Champions League. So who knows? We might be seeing William Troost-Ekong in next season's UEFA Champions League. Even if they don't qualify for the Champions League, they will probably end up in the Europa, or worst case in the Conference League. So a good one for him for sure. I think it is nice to see our Nigerian players winning trophies, no matter the level, no matter the country. Winning is the ultimate goal when you're playing football at the professional level. So to see our players being successful is definitely an interesting one and a great thing to see. And I think the title win for William Troost-Ekong makes him about the 14th or 15th different Nigerian player to win a title this season. So it's been incredible. We've had quite a number of title winners, all the way from UAE to mainstream Europe, and more still to come, because the season is still closing, it's still winding down. So it could be a very winning season for Nigerian players around the world. But yes, Smith Layi, what are your thoughts on William Troost-Ekong becoming a Greek champion with PAOK.
Yes, well, fantastic. We all know that he didn't really play, he didn't really help the club towards winning that title. When he came back from AFCON, he was away with Nigeria during AFCON. He came back, he was injured, and if you remember too, they were playing the quarterfinals against Club Brugge in the Conference League too. They lost. I think they lost the game on aggregate to Club Brugge in Belgium. So it wasn't really part of the team, but a win is a win, a trophy is a what? It's a trophy, no matter how it is. So he's a player of PAOK, so that is actually what very, very good for him. I'm happy that it's actually what he gets his first gold trophy. I'm not really sure. I will try and double check. It's like this is his first title or so. I don't know. Maybe this is his first title, the league title. I'm not really sure. Maybe it's actually what won before. But at least I'm happy that our captain is winning trophy, and I hope that it can also be this trophy can also help him to be one of the shortlist for the African Player of the Year, because he won the best player the last AFCON, and also winning a trophy now with his club side.
So,
It would be very good if they are playing the final of the Europa League, so that it'll have been no Europa Conference League. Sorry, so that would have given him a big chance to become to see if he can be the African best player.
no, yeah, well said. And I think you are correct. This is his first trophy, so obviously it's a special one for him, and by the grace of God, there's still more to come for him
Mm-hmm.
before he winds down completely on his career. But yes, shout out to William Troost-Ekong. I don't know if he's going to be African best player, but at least we can try
Yeah,
to sneak him into the conversation.
conversation. Yes.
Considering the achievement that he had at the AFCON as well as
Mm-hmm.
with his club side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to you, Skipo. Congratulations for that one. When you're 30 years old and you're winning your first trophy, it must feel very
Mm-hmm.
nice because you've waited so long for that. So yes, I'm happy for him, and hopefully next season is an even better one for him and for his club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Bismillah, let us move on quickly now to the English Premier League. The most watched league in the world, the most watched league in Nigeria. People, and I don't think it's wrong for me to say that people in Nigeria watch the English Premier League more than they watch the Nigerian Premier League. The most popular league, and of course, we had Nigerian players in action for their clubs as the season rounded off. Man City won the league, Arsenal did not. But how did our Nigerian players do? I'll start from the bottom and go up. In 18th spots, we had Gabriel Osho with Luton Town FC. Some people have asked me, what about Elijah Adebayo? If you want to consider Adebayo to be a Nigerian player, sure, why not? We saw a video that he did. He said he wants to play for Nigeria. So unfortunately, both players have been relegated to the EFL Championship with Luton Town. Luton Town, of
I'm
course, it
Fred
was
Onyedima.
always and Fred Onyedima. Thank you. Um, of course, it was always going to be a tough task for them. Luton, small team. They had to manage their resources well, and at least they got to experience and to live the Premier League dream. In 17 spots, we had Taiwo Awoni and Olaino with Nottingham Forest. Another year of nervy moments, another year of struggle, but another year in the Premier League. They've survived, finishing above Luton Town. Awoni is going to be in the Premier League again next season. Olaino has renewed his contract with Nottingham Forest, so he's going to be with them again next season. And by the grace of God, they can move up a little bit, and next year is not another tough season. Because I mean, I've never been a footballer, but I want to imagine that when you're battling relegation year in, year out, is relatively hard for you to really enjoy the football that you're playing because you're under that kind of constant pressure, you know. But yeah, congratulations to them. Awoni, of course, was injured for a lot of the season, but both players still played a decent enough role for them as they survived. In 16th spot, we have Frank Onyeka and Brentford. Brentford, one of the teams in Premier League that is never really going to compete for the title or compete for Europe, but then they also are not really that much of a threat when it comes to going down and getting relegated. Brentford, of course, finished in the 16th spot this season. Frank Onyeka, I think, probably had one of his better seasons that he's had since being a Brentford player. Only 1 goal and 2 assists, but he played a decent role. He played more of a key role this year, helping them to seal some victories, and just getting a lot more game time than he used to in the past. So yeah, shout out to Frank Onyeka. Hopefully next season is even better for them. And then of course, we have Alex Iwobi and Calvin Bassey at Fulham, who finished 13th in the English Premier League. 13th is not the best spot, it's still bottom half of the table, but is also a steady Eddie position, not really threatening the relegation, but also not challenging for much. Iwobi, we saw him have a decent year for Fulham after joining them from Everton at the start of the season. 5 goals, 2 assists, so not his highest goal contribution season. But if you really watched the games, not just about the statistics now in goals and assists, if you actually really watched the games, you would have seen that Iwobi was one of the key players for Fulham this season, creating chance after chance after chance in matches. Had a good time for them before the AFCON, went to the AFCON, played for Nigeria, came back and continued to impress. So shout out to Alex Iwobi. And then, of course, for Calvin Bassey, his debut season in the English Premier League, after joining Fulham from Ajax, and, scored 1 goal, helped them to 6 clean sheets, and, of course, to this steady position in the Prem. Looking forward to seeing what they can do next season. And, of course, looking forward to seeing which new Nigerian players we would have in the Premier League next season. But yes, there you have it. Our best finishers out of the Nigerian players was in 13th, with Iwobi and Calvin Bassey. Smith Layi, what are your thoughts on the Premier League season and how the Nigerian players fared this year?
No, yes, and like actually was said, no Nigerian player finished in the top half of the Premier League season this year, and it's sad. Not to even talk about going to Europe, not finishing in the top half. So, but we will say that not good, but at least we always do that. We always have players that will fight relegation, and remember it was Watford, Fulham, we always have the contingent there, all the time. So, but what can I say? You mentioned Gabriel Osho. I think that Luton got a chance to stay in the Premier League if they had just a little bit of quality, and I think the injury to Elijah Adebayo really, really affected the way Luton actually was, the way their season turned out. So they tried. At least they gave it to the last game of the season before they got relegated. And that was winning you too. He ended last season very well. Don't forget that it was like scoring nearly every game at the start of the season. But unfortunately, injury is not really friends of footballers again, and so injury slowed him down slightly. And the funniest thing is that how many players have scored an away goal against Arsenal this year? Maybe about 2 or 3 players. Tawa Awoniyi. Before the Tottenham game, it was only Tawa Awoniyi that scored an away goal against Arsenal this year to breach their defense. So, he's a player that if he's fit, you know exactly what can she bring to the table. And I think Tawa Awoniyi not available for Nottingham Forest was part of the major reasons, one of the reasons why they really even struggled and actually fight against relegation. For Iwobi and Calvin Bassey is decent because you don't expect them to. That is a normal position for them. So a top half finish has been a bonus for them because Marco Silva is doing a very good job for that team, and also Brentford too. To even, like their coach said, he said to even survive is an achievement for Brentford. He said to even survive is an achievement for Brentford. So surviving is like they won. Last year was the year they nearly pushed to Europe, but he said that surviving is even enough for them. So for me, I just hope that some of the players that performed well can move on to the Champions League or Europa League playing side in the Premier League too. That is it. But no, not a bad season. We have two players, and the funniest thing is that Elijah Adebayo and Gabriel Osho, I think their two contracts are actually up this summer too. I know Osho is not. I know Osho contract will end in June, and also I'm not really sure of Elijah Adebayo, but I knew that Brighton, Crystal Palace, they are very very they are monitoring the situation too. So we might see another big Nigerian contingent again in the Premier League.
Well said. And speaking of Nigerian contingent potentially in the Premier League next season, we'll just quickly give a shout out to Southampton. Joe Aribo, of course, played a key role for them as they qualified for the Championship playoffs final. So they are still battling for promotion. They are going to be facing Leeds in that final. Of course, Leeds are no strangers to the Premier League. Southampton are no strangers to the Premier League. So it's going to be an interesting battle in that one. Of course, because of my Nigerian bias, I'm going to be supporting Southampton, and I would like to see Joe Aribo back in the Prem. Aribo is one player whose stock went down this season, and hopefully he's able to bring his stock back up by potentially showing us his quality in the English Premier League. So I'm really rooting for Southampton. I hope they can beat Leeds, and I hope it can just add to the number of Nigerian players that will be in the English top flight
Paul, no, actually.
next. That's if Onuachu is going to be with. I don't think after everything he's doing with Trabzonspor, I don't think he's going to come at Southampton. I also don't think Southampton need him. So Onuachu is probably going to be somewhere else. But yeah, still a Southampton
Benjamin
player.
Fredericks too. He just signed for the first team. So
At Brentford, yeah. So
Brentford.
potentially Benjamin Frederick could be playing in the Premier League next season. Potentially. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, Smith Layi, to round off on today's episode, let us just quickly give our predictions and our thoughts on the upcoming Europa League final. It is Nigerians versus Nigerians, what I like to call a Nigerian derby in Europe. Of course, we talk about our players, our Nigerian players playing at the highest level of football, of European football. And whilst this is not the Champions League final, I think it is still something that we should be proud of as Nigerian fans. We are seeing Atalanta going up against Bayer Leverkusen in the Europa League final. Atalanta, of course, have Ademola Lookman. Bayer Leverkusen have Victor Boniface and Nathan Teller as well. Leverkusen, like we mentioned already at the start of the episode, going through this amazing unbeaten run. They have two finals left. One of them is this Europa League final, and I'm sure they would want to win it and continue their fantastic season that they are having. But then we also have Atalanta, with Lookman. Lookman already has been on the losing side of two finals this year. Of course, he lost the AFCON final with Nigeria after being one of our best players throughout the tournament, probably our best attacker. And then they also lost the Coppa Italia final 1-0 against Juventus, in a very tough game. I think Lookman even hits the post in that game. So they've been unlucky. Lookman himself has been unlucky not to have any trophy. And this is the last chance for him this season, going up against his brother Victor Boniface as well as Nathan Teller. I think it's going to be an interesting battle. For me, I don't know, anybody that wins this game, I'll probably be happy and be satisfied. But if I was going to put my money down, I think I'll probably put my money on Bayer Leverkusen for this one. I just think their momentum, their form, they're on the verge of glory, doing something absolutely amazing and unprecedented. I don't think it's going to be an easy battle, but I think that at the end of the day, Bayer Leverkusen will just edge this one. My prediction for this Europa League final is going to be 2-1 to Bayer Leverkusen. Hopefully, Victor Boniface can score for Leverkusen and maybe Lookman can score for Atalanta. But even if Lookman wins, I'll still be happy because it's a Nigerian that is winning something at the end of the day. Smith Layi, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Europa League final?
I think that this season is like a series movie, like for Bayern Leverkusen, because you keep on seeing stories after stories, history after history, and it's going to take a very brave man or the man with the deep pockets to bet against the Bayer Leverkusen, or a man that sees tomorrow to bet against the Bayer Leverkusen. It's very, very hard for me to say I bet against them. But as you know, I always get my scoreline wrong. But I will predict this one. I will still predict this one. I think I see Leverkusen winning. But it won't be on that story again that they were about to lose the game. They came back, they scored. So if I'm saying who is to score, I'm going to go with you. I want Teller and Boniface to score for for Bayer Leverkusen, and I also want Lukman to score. What's it called for Atlanta? So I'm going for Leverkusen win in Dublin.
Okay, so we're both predicting Leverkusen to win. Let us
Yeah.
see how that one turns out. Of course, for everyone listening and watching, let us know your prediction, who you think is going to win that game in the comment section as well. But like I said, whatever the result is, we have something to be proud of because we know that a Nigerian player is going to be lifting a European trophy, a European club competition trophy this season, the Europa League, and maybe next year we would have a Nigerian player lifting the UEFA Champions League. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But yes, those are all the topics that we had for you guys this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Please, please, please let us know if you have any question, leave it in the comments. If you have any suggestion, if you have any topic that you would like us to cover, if you have any, even insults, you can leave it in the comments. We completely appreciate all the engagement. And of course, we understand that even those that are insulting the takes that we give, it's just from a place of love, and just having football conversations. So yes, Smith Layi, any final word, any last comments, addition before we wrap this one up?
It's just to tell our fans that they should keep on supporting us. We promise that this is just the beginning. We promise that the engagement level, the DMs I get that when I'm recording again, I like that. Just keep on engaging. We are taking you to a different level. We are checking something. Don't worry. We are taking you to a different level. Just keep subscribing and we'll not disappoint you. Don't forget, we have the Euros coming. We have the Olympic Games coming. So we're going to give you our opinion too.
And we're still waiting for Finidi George's first
list.
First Super Eagles squad, with those one qualifiers coming up. So we're going to have enough episodes for you and enough conversation.
Yes.
But again, please, please, please feel free to let us know what you want us to discuss. If there's anything you'd like to hear from us, any questions, suggestions, we really appreciate you guys for that. And as always, make sure you like this video, like it if you are listening to the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Make sure you make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss when we drop the next episode. And as always, share it with your friends, your families, your loved ones, your group chats, your conversations, your forums, and allow everybody to enjoy this Naija flavored football content. My name is AyoT. My co-host is
Smith Layi. Thank you for joining.
This is the Naija FC Podcast. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.